It goes against our most sacred beliefs as humans to harm our own children. Filicide is almost always caused by a break with reality through some mental problem, according to experts. The following stories of moms who commit the ultimate evil show us the horrors of postpartum symptoms and mental illness. Mom of 3, Lilliana Caririlo, was charged in April 2021 for taking the lives of her 3 children, Terry, Sierra, and Joanna. The 30-year-old has pleaded not guilty. According to police, she took the lives of her 3 children on April 10th in an apartment in Reseda, California. She then fled the scene but was soon apprehended in Tulare County. The children's father, Eric Denton, was fighting Lilliana for custody of the children according to court records. Denton told the court that he was seeking custody because Lilliana had become, in his words, delusional. She felt she was completely responsible for the coronavirus pandemic, and the small California town they lived in was a giant ring of people who stole children and sold them to overseas buyers. The two met when Lilliana was Denton's Uber driver. They struck up a conversation, hit it off, and fell in love soon after. Denton and Lilliana both state that she was affected by postpartum depression after the birth of their second child. She sought help but didn't stick with it. Court records state that Lilliana claimed her husband was hurting the children and she wanted sole custody. The couple's oldest daughter was examined and determined to be unharmed, but Lilliana refused to accept the outcome. Instead of allowing Denton to visit with his children, the following day, she dropped them in her apartment bathroom.
I promised them when they were born that I was going to protect them.
After fleeing the scene, Carilo's mom came to the apartment to check on her and found the children. Caririlo told authorities she planned to take her own by driving off a cliff. But when her car got stuck in a ditch, she stole one from a couple who stopped to help her. It didn't take long for the police to catch up to her 200 miles from her apartment and take her into custody. She has pleaded not guilty, but also confessed to local news channel KGET, saying, "I found them. I did it as softly. I don't know how to explain it, but I hugged them and I kissed them and I was apologizing the whole time. I loved my kids." The full list of her charges includes the death of her children and carjacking. She is still awaiting trial. Alina Guti called emergency services in February 2021 when she hurt her wrist after her son's throat. She had recently told her husband that she felt very low. When the police arrived at her apartment, she opened the door with stained hands. The police searched the home and found her 4-year-old son in her bed. "This is pretty serious," is all Alina said when police discovered her son. The boy's father reported that he had asked Alina for a paternity test and planned to take full custody if he was proven to be the boy's biological father. The couple was separated but still living in the same house. Alina and their son stayed downstairs and the father stayed in the upper part of the house. Several stained kitchen blades were found on the floor next to the boy's bed. Police say Alina was emotionless and barely spoke as they apprehended her. She is still awaiting trial. In a similar case that not only made worldwide news, but spawned a Netflix documentary. The Trials of Gabriel Fernandez shines a light on the tragic case of a little boy who slipped through the system. Pearl Fernandez caused the death of her son by systematically beating, starving, and locking Gabriel away in a cupboard because she claimed he was gay. She was sentenced to a term of life without parole. The Netflix documentary explored the many social services workers and others who came in contact with the situation but did not remove the boy from his mom's care. Pearl's family had been caring for Gabriel after she abandoned him at the hospital after his birth. The state of California returned custody to her in 2012 despite their misgivings. The family claimed Pearl was not a good mother and neglected Gabriel and her other children. Gabriel moved in with Pearl and her boyfriend Isaru Aguirre. In 8 months, he would lose his life at their hands. The couple did not treat any of Gabriel's siblings in the same manner. The children all reported to authorities that the couple would laugh as they made Gabriel eat cat litter and throw up, sleep bound and gagged, and endure harsh physical. until one finally ended his. In May 2013, Pearl called emergency services to report that her son wasn't breathing. Police arrived to find him lying on the floor with severe. According to official reports, Pearl immediately began to tell responders that the 8-year-old child was gay, as if that somehow explained his condition. He was taken to the hospital where he 2 days later. Official reports cite the cause of death as blunt force trauma along with malnutrition. Pearl and Isaro were charged with. In 2018, Pearl received a life sentence without the possibility of parole. Isaro received a sentence of capital punishment. At least 60 complaints were filed about Gabriel's condition before he lost his. 4 Los Angeles County social workers and 9 sheriff's deputies also faced charges that were ultimately dropped. In 2021, Pearl was denied a new sentencing hearing based on changes in state law. Isaro is still awaiting his automatic appeal to a capital punishment sentence. Tammy Moffat and her daughter, Malika Bennett, were both arrested in connection to the death of Malika's daughter, Majellic. Police received a tip that Majellic had not been seen for several months and foul play was suspected. Bennett was already in trouble with the law. She had a pending case against her stemming from leaving Majellic's younger siblings alone for more than 24 hours. Police were called to Bennett's home 77 times since January 2020 for a myriad of disturbances. Majellic had only lived with Bennett for a month before she disappeared. Once alerted to her disappearance, police began to search for her. When nothing turned up at Bennett's home, they moved on to the home of Tammy Moffat, Majellic's grandmother. They uncovered Majellic's in her backyard. Moffat was immediately apprehended and charged with accessory. Police are still investigating but believe Majellic could have lost her as early as September 2020. Yui Inoue denied charges that she took the of her 2 children with a meat cleaver in court in May 2021. "I did not anybody," she said in Maricopa County Superior Court through a Japanese interpreter. Yui went to a Tempe police station on a May 2021 morning and told officers that she was hearing voices telling her to keep children, according to official documents. She waited outside the station until an officer appeared and rushed over to tell him the bizarre message. Investigators called her husband, who explained the couple had separated. They had argued over money because Yui wanted to return to Japan. He said she threatened to harm him with a kitchen blade, so he slept in his car. He said he never believed she would harm their children. Police noticed spatter on her shoes and small cuts on her hands, so they went to Yui's address. There, they found the remains of her 2 children. They had been and nearly Their names have not been released. Yui told police she woke up around 4 a.m. and saw the blood on her hands. She checked her children to find they were no longer living and took a bath before going to the police station. She is awaiting her preliminary hearing. When moms hurt their own children, it leaves us with a special kind of terror. It is an act most of us cannot even fathom. How big of a role do postpartum symptoms play? Do you think better post-childbirth programs could curb the problem? Let us know your thoughts below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more up-to-date news content.